outdoors, a condition called the photic sneeze reflex. Imagine being blinded by the sun and punished with a reflexive, explosive sneeze every single time. Nature has a twisted sense of humor. So the next time you sneeze, remember you're firing off a biological missile with zero filter at lightning speed. You're basically a walking, sneezing weapon of mass destruction. Bless you. Shivering is like your body's way of saying, "I'm freezing, fix it." But it's also way more dramatic and mysterious than you think. When your body temperature drops, tiny muscles start to contract rapidly and involuntarily, creating that shivering effect. It's your body's built-in heating system, like an internal muscle-powered furnace designed to crank up your core temperature by turning muscle movement into heat. But here's the weird part. Shivering doesn't just happen from cold. Sometimes your body triggers this reflex when you're scared, excited, or even overwhelmed by emotions. Ever had chills while watching a thriller or during a goosebumps-inducing speech? That's shivering's emotional side showing off. This reflex has a dark history. Shivering could also signal early stages of fever. When your body detects invading pathogens, it deliberately makes you shiver to raise your temperature and cook out the infection. Basically, your body turns into a tiny sauna to burn out the bad guys. However, if you shiver too much or inappropriately, it can actually stress your heart and muscles, sometimes causing more harm than good. Your body's ancient survival tools didn't get the memo about modern heating systems and cozy blankets. So the next time you shiver, think of it as your body frantically hammering the internal thermostat, trying to keep you alive and maybe embarrass you with those uncontrollable shakes at the worst moments. You probably think your pupils just get bigger or smaller depending on how much light there is, right? Well, yeah, but it's also one of the creepiest reflexes your body has, acting like a built-in lie detector and mood sensor that's been spying on you for millions of years. Here's the deal. When light hits your eye, your pupils automatically constrict or dilate to protect your retina and optimize vision. Sounds normal, but the way this happens is kind of eerie. Your brain controls this reflex through the autonomic nervous system, which you have zero conscious control over. So, no matter how much you try to dilate your eyes to look cute or innocent, your pupils have their own secret agenda. Even creepier? Pupils also respond to emotional and psychological states. When you're attracted to someone, scared out of your mind, or lying through your teeth, your pupils can dilate involuntarily. It's like your eyes are betraying your deepest secrets without permission. Psychologists have even studied pupil size as a window into the soul, revealing stress levels, attraction, and deception. So next time you're trying to hide how terrified or intrigued you are, your pupils are basic. Ever had that moment when someone even mentions choking and suddenly you feel like puking? That's your gag reflex, the ultimate built-in security system for your throat. This reflex is designed to protect your airway from anything that's not supposed to be there, whether that's food going down the wrong pipe, choking hazards, or, well, anything gross enough to trigger your body's disgust radar. It gets triggered when sensors in your throat detect something foreign, and your brain immediately orders the muscles to contract, basically saying, "Nope, get that out of here." It's like your throat's very own bouncer refusing entry to unwelcome guests. Here's the slightly horrifying part. The gag reflex is so sensitive, it can be triggered just by thinking about gross stuff, or watching someone else gag. That's why some people get nauseous watching medical shows, or even brushing their teeth too far back. And if you're unlucky enough to have an overactive gag reflex, congratulations! You're the human equivalent of a medieval castle with a very aggressive moat. Without this reflex, choking would be a lot more common and way more dangerous. So, while it's annoying at times, your gag reflex is a creepy little lifesaver that's working overtime to keep you breathing. Imagine your diaphragm, a muscle you didn't even know existed until it started betraying you, suddenly spasming uncontrollably, causing that bizarre hike sound. That's hiccups for you, the most inconvenient reflex no one really understands. The hiccup reflex is basically a hiccup-shaped glitch in your body's autopilot. Your diaphragm contracts suddenly, while your vocal cords slam shut to stop air, creating that unmistakable hic sound. But why does this happen? Scientists think it might be a leftover from our amphibian ancestors, where sudden gulping of air was crucial for survival. Here's the weird part. Hiccups can be triggered by a ridiculous variety of things: eating too fast, swallowing air, sudden temperature changes, or even emotional stress. And once they start, your body insists on making you look ridiculous until they finally stop, usually at the worst possible moment. In rare cases, hiccups can last days or even months, turning from a harmless nuisance into a medical nightmare. Imagine your diaphragm locked in a repetitive rebellion that won't quit. No one knows exactly why hiccups persist in humans today, but one thing's for sure. They're a strange, spooky leftover from evolution's unfinished business, reminding us that even our bodies have weird bugs. You've probably touched something hot and immediately yanked your hand back before you even felt pain. That lightning-fast reaction is your withdrawal reflex, and it's one of the most impressively creepy things your nervous system can do. This reflex happens so fast that your brain doesn't even get to be involved at first. The sensory nerves send a distress signal straight to your spinal cord, which immediately orders your muscles to contract and pull away. It's like your spinal cord is the bouncer who doesn't wait for permission to kick someone out. This speed is crucial for survival. Imagine if your brain had to think about it first. You'd be stuck roasting your hand while debating the pros and cons of pulling away. Instead, your body acts like an overprotective parent, saving you from damage with zero patience. But the withdrawal reflex isn't just about burns or cuts. It also works for any sudden painful stimulus, like a sharp object or even loud noises in some animals. It's the biological equivalent of a scream and a punch, all rolled into one automatic move. So next time you touch something hot, remember, your spinal cord is doing its best impression of a superhero, saving you from yourself with a reflex that's scary fast and impressively ruthless. If you've ever seen a newborn's foot twitch dramatically when someone strokes the sole, you've witnessed the Babinski reflex, a bizarre and slightly creepy survival mechanism that's usually gone by the time you start walking. Here's the scene. A doctor or a parent brushes the bottom of a baby's foot, and the toes fan out and curl upward like tiny spider legs waving hello. It's a primitive reflex that signals a healthy nervous system in infants, but what's downright eerie is that adults lose this reflex as their brains mature. Scientists believe this reflex was once useful for our ancestors, who clung to their mother's fur with those toes, kind of like baby monkeys hanging on for dear life during a high-speed chase through the trees. The fanning toes would grip better, increasing survival chances. For adults, if the Babinski reflex reappears, it's usually a sign of nerve damage or brain injury, basically your nervous system flashing a red warning sign. So this reflex is a weird reminder that deep inside, your baby brain was once a miniature survival expert. Imagine your toes secretly trying to grip the air whenever your nervous system is on high alert. It's like your body's way of saying, I'm ready for action, even if you're not. Ever noticed how babies will grab your finger with an iron grip that feels like they're trying to take over your entire hand? That's the palmar grasp reflex, another weird holdover from our evolutionary toolbox. Back when our primate ancestors needed to cling to their mothers to survive, this reflex was a literal lifesaver. Babies who could grab and hold on tightly had a better chance of not falling out of the safety of their mother's arms, or fur. The crazy part? This reflex is so strong in newborns that they can almost support their own weight briefly. It's like they're born ready to hang on for dear life. If you try it, you'll find it surprisingly hard to pry that tiny hand off your finger. Adults lose this reflex, but the wiring remains deep in your nervous system. Sometimes, in neurological diseases like stroke or brain injury, the palmar grasp reflex can mysteriously return, like a ghost from your evolutionary past knocking on your nervous system's door. It's wild to think that even as grown-ups, we carry these primal survival moves beneath our polished, smartphone-wielding exteriors, tiny time capsules of a much hairier past. Imagine a baby suddenly feels like it's free-falling through space, arms flailing, legs kicking, face full of shock. That's the Moro reflex, your brain's first ever OMG, something's wrong alarm, hardwired to protect infants from falling or sudden loss of support. This reflex kicks in when a baby's head shifts too fast or they experience a loud noise or sudden movement. The baby instantly throws their arms wide, arches the back, and then brings the arms back in like a terrified little hug. It's basically a full-body panic attack, an ancient survival mechanism designed to grab onto anything nearby, hopefully mom's hair or shirt, so they don't tumble into disaster. Creepy enough? The Moro reflex disappears after a few months as the brain matures. But it's one of those primitive survival tricks that scream, "I'm new here and I'm not messing around." It's like the baby's built-in skydiving emergency protocol, minus the parachute. What's fascinating is that adults don't have this reflex, but our brains still carry the blueprint. Some therapists use controlled versions of this reflex in early development therapies, trying to reset the nervous system after trauma or stress. Basically, we're all carrying echoes of this primal scream deep inside. So next time you see a baby startled by a sneeze or a sudden movement, remember, they're broadcasting the oldest survival signal in the human playbook, still as dramatic and effective as ever.